Hello, this is Angelo Batio, and again, we are doing the No Boundaries live stream, and it is sponsored by Sawtooth Guitars, Sawtooth Amps. Hello, Jenny, how are you? And Sawtooth Amps, ChromaCast, and Goatee PS Live, okay? Let's see. We have Edgar, hello. We have Tanya. Masako, hello. Joe, hello. A lot of people are coming online. Yes! Okay, Christian, hey. I like doing the shout-outs at the beginning. Hello, Goatee PS Music. We have lots of stuff on the app that I'm going to talk about today. Hello, Roxana. Good night. Cynthia, yes, hello. It's good to see you again. Hey, Denny, how are you? Your collection's looking amazing. I'm getting jealous. Well, I've been jealous. You have some really cool guitars. I'm doing great. Hi, Jenny. I'm doing wonderful. Yes, it's good to see everybody. We have a lot of people online now. Yep, nice to see you too. Sushant, hello. I want to go back to Nepal. Sushant's from Nepal. We have met each other several times. I've been in Kathmandu a few times. I love Nepal. Yes, I'm doing fantastic. Okay. Now, okay, hey, Austin, how are you? I see the fire. Austin, if you see Austin Brady online, he's the one who is, he was the tech with me on tour, and he does a lot of things from, he's fantastic. He's a great photographer. He helps on the video. He set up the video room here for me. He helps out in a lot of ways. So hi, Austin. How are you? Okay. Yeah, Denny, you've got the rockin' guitar collection. Okay, let's say, hey, Nick, how are you? It's good to see you. Nick's a great friend, too. Hey, JD. Vegan death metal, broccoli. Matthew, what's going on? What's my weapon of choice? Good question. Sawtooth is doing something, again, that not any other company's doing. And what they released is a series of guitars called relics. And if you know anything about guitars, what relics are, so you can see a little bit of the light that I use for online here. But they are actually distressed guitars. But here's the difference. Usually you have to pay thousands of dollars, and somebody from a factory goes, "This has been a bad guitar." Ooh, Joey's ready. Let's beat it up! Yes, 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 Joey, I'm the star. Cool it. Okay, here's what I'm trying to say, is that usually when you get a distressed guitar, to make it look old, somebody is there, some human going, "We're going to charge thousands of dollars for this guitar, bro. We're going to beat the hell out of it. Yes, 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 you've been bad, bad, bad." Robert's looking at me like, "What?" What? Don't use him, use me. No. Anyway, the point is this. Sawtooth is the first company that's actually delivering relics that come like this without the multi-thousand-dollar price tag. But here's the difference. One, they're really great. Two, they're each one is individual. But the cool thing about this is the hardware is not distressed. I hated that. You spend $5,000 on a guitar that your bridge is rusted. I'm like, I can't bring it on tour. When you're on the road, for as long as I go on the road, sooner or later, you're on a plane, you're in a bus, something happens where it's like, a part gets screwed up. It could even be a tune, like a case, even a flight case. Something lands on it and puts so much pressure on a part that it breaks. Things happen on tour. It's just like a car that's used a lot. You have to replace parts. So anyway, on tour, I don't want to replace a relic part with a brand new part. So this is not only, so we have kept these relics really reasonable for you, and they're amazing. Here's my overdrive channel here. Now I've got it through the 40-watt tube amp that I did a really great demo of it recently. It'll be on the Sawtooth site too. But it's got these humbuckers, the only one that I ever saw playing one of these with dual humbuckers is John 5. And I used to ask him, I used to think to myself, and I know him, not super well, we're not super close friends, but we're friendly with each other on a first name basis. I wondered why he used just double humbuckers instead of the lipstick pickup in this. And now I know. I mean, these things are just, it just got that really creamy neck position sound, and then the lead position, you know, the bridge was just. Now I have my signature delay going through the effects loop, so you can hear a little delay, and I use an overdrive, that's it. Now when I put it to the clean channel, I use compression. Sounds bad. Like one of my songs, Oceans of Time. Or even back in the day, my song, Outside Inside. Now, I had a wow with that one. It's just such a cool sound. I mean, these just sound really, really cool. You know, because, you know, the body shape too, but this is, again, another first from this company. Sawtooth just keeps doing cool things. You can get a relic, but the hardware's new. And you know, I kind of think of it like, you know, if you bought a World War II plane or a plane that had been in battle, but then you put on some new parts so it could fly really good again. Call me crazy. But I mean, this is a guitar I could take on tour because I love the idea of the new parts with the relic body. And the prices, again, really reasonable. Sawtooth has great value. Hey, Alexis, how are you? I see you online. Yeah, there's a lot of great people here. Okay, a lot of people online. Now, I want to talk about the lesson today. The lesson is about modes. Now, I know that some people say, oh, he always says this, Melly. Hey! Okay, shut up. Okay, I got to tell you something. Joey and I have been getting into arguments lately. He's sick of playing guitar. Joey says he's been there, done that. Listen, I've done what I have to do to get it done. And so Joey thinks that he can be the star in another genre of music. I was like, well, what do you want to do? He's like, I want to be a rapper. I want to be Joe E. I'm like, are you out of your mind? He's like, no. And so he thinks he's been listening to old Ice-T records. I'm like, what? And so he's like, yeah, cooling in my crib, cold video dubbing. FBI warning, yo, that don't mean nothing. He's like, what? And he's like, I heard the phone ringing. I said, who can it be? It was the E, the V, yes, the I-L-E. I'm like, whoa, you're not too bad. So if you see a new rapper out named Joe E, you know it's him. And so, yeah, he needs time in the corner. That's what Steve said. I agree with you, Steve. Yeah, that's Steve, a really close friend, Hell Creek Music and more. But, you know, it's funny because I think COVID is doing something to all of us. We need to get out there more. And now with this vaccination, there's no excuse to shut stuff down like it was. So how many guitars do I have? Somebody asked. I'll kind of be a little disjunct. I see some good questions coming in. I have right now, I just inventoried it for, believe it or not, insurance purposes because they're all insured. Not everyone can leave my house. So, but I have the alarm system of doom in my house. Nobody gets out alive or alive in my house. So when I put that alarm on, but I have 178. And so that's, I would like to increase that more. I think when I hit 200, I'm going to throw a party. So, yeah, somebody wrote, I never age. Rock and roll keeps you young, man. You know, some people said, oh, he has contacts for the blue eyes. I'm sorry, I don't. These are my blue eyes. Somebody said, oh, dude, man, like your teeth, all that stuff. Let me tell you about my teeth. My two front teeth have caps, and you know why? Because I chipped them playing hockey when I was 13 years old. And here's what happened. I was a really good skater. I still am. Now, I'm left-handed, as everybody knows, but I played hockey right-handed. Just like I golf right-handed, but I was good with a stick. And I'm from Chicago. We always, in the wintertime, I lived by a park. They used to freeze this area. We used to have literally an ice skating pond. No, it wasn't a pond, it was grass. They put enough water so you had a level surface. We used to play hockey like every day after school. I'd be on the ice. I had the gloves. I loved being a goalie. But anyway, here's what happened to my two front teeth. So if anybody says, oh, they're so white because no, they're white because I take care of them. But my two front teeth are caps. They've been caps since I was 13. I was playing forward. I had a breakaway. Anybody knows that? I was like me and the goalie. I'm telling you, I was good. Because with all the pads on, I'd already been playing guitars. I had the really thick pads that go across your arms all the way up to here. You have shin guards. You have all sorts of protection when you're playing hockey. So I felt a lot better doing all this. So anyway, I'm going and I'm thinking, I'm going to score a goal, man. And this guy took his stick and caught my skates and tripped me. I didn't see it, of course, but I felt it. And he got me from behind. I hit the ice. I had a mouth guard on. I hit the ice, poof, flat on with my face. I was like, poof, and he starts laughing. And I went like this. I took my glove off. I felt my tooth. There was blood all over. And I felt one of my teeth was gone. It was chipped. And he's laughing, and now I already play guitar, but I was a mean little kid. Like, I'm a super nice guy, but there's a line that you cross where I'm not nice, and I wasn't nice this time. It was one of the last fist fights I ever got into. I was 13 years old, and this guy's laughing at me on the ice. I said, screw this. I put my glove back on, boom, and I popped this. I was like, whack. I mean, I hit him so hard, whack. And then I went home, and what they found out is that I had chipped one of my teeth, and the one above it was cracked completely above the gum. In other words, it was broken above the gum line. And I was so little and young back then, the dentist said, well, that'll grow back. He said, you're lucky. If you were an adult, he said, we'd have to remove your teeth, your one tooth. And then I put caps on. So that's the moral of the Mikey look. As far as my face, I haven't really gotten any facial surgery. I get facials every once in a while. Why not? And I stay out of the sun. I'm a vampire! He is. See? Even Joey admits it. We don't stay out. We don't go out in the sun. Now, getting back to this modes. What does this have to do with the modes? See, being a vampire, I was there. I was there in the early days when you used to say, verily I say unto thee, what light through yonder window breaks? It's like, oh, don't you know who I am? Don't you know? Don't you feel the presence of the rock god? It's like, shut up. Exactly. The modes. This is the thing that I learned, that I realized today. I just did some studying again about, with my Harvard. I have an abridged Harvard Dictionary of Music. And it was made for students when I went to the university, when I went to Northeastern. But when I was taught modes, they were literally called the church modes. And see, now, people call modes scales. See, when in the 20th century, when jazz started to become really popular, they started changing the rules. And not like anything has any rules, but things that were established for a long time, it's like saying in sports, he's got a rhythm. Well, that's grammatically incorrect. He doesn't have a rhythm, like, Michael Jordan, oh, he's got a rhythm for the game. There is no thing as a rhythm. You have rhythm, not a rhythm, but when you say something wrong long enough and people understand it, they're like, okay. So, as sure as English, became, can you imagine if Shakespeare heard today, yo, see what I'm saying? He'd be like, what art thou saying? It's like, what the heck? How did it come from Old English to what we have today? And so music has become like this too. See, music used to be, for many centuries, there was Renaissance music, but in Bach's time, in the Baroque era especially, we established the major scale. We established tonality based on scales. Now, why am I saying all this? Because in school, the modes start like this. If you just look at the white keys of a piano, just this. Now I switch channels here. When you hear do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, dun, 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 that was called, and it still is, the Ionian mode. Now, here's what I learned in school, but it's changed now, but this can help you. See, one of the reasons that I still look and play like a vampire is because I am. But besides that, I understood the way it was taught in a way that was clear, it was concise. In other words, I didn't change the rules of the game as I went along. I said, okay, the way Josquin du Pré, which was the greatest Renaissance counterpoint composer from France that there was, he's considered the Johann Sebastian Bach of Renaissance counterpoint. And see, Renaissance counterpoint was more modal. And so what I mean by this is that when you take a scale like this, what I learned in school, now again, this is different now, but this is going to give you a foundation where you can understand modern theory and modern harmony. Scales resolve. In other words, see, when you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that 5 chord on any scale that exists, scale, wants to resolve. See, they called that the dominant chord, the dominant tone, because it's so dominant that it wants to force you back to a 1 chord. And so when you hear, okay, that's no boundaries. When you hear that's Paganini's way. Mine is, I change one note. It's actually harder to play my way because you have to do one note and alternate picking on like 1 note per string. So anyway, when you have a scale resolves with the dominant chord, which is always 5. Do, re, mi, fa, so. Or a mode does not resolve that way. See, for example, take the Phrygian mode. The 5 note, I mean, it sounds like a Clint Eastwood movie. But the 5 chord is minor. So how does this go? Where does it resolve? It doesn't go. That is a scale. A mode does not resolve like a scale. So if you hear this, Joey wanted a headbang there. Wait, so if you want to do that in metal, broccoli, broccoli. That That's my vegan death metal. I'm writing a vegan death metal record, by the way. Everyone, I think that when you have the absence of harmony and you have the absence of melody and all you have is rhythm and you go, ooh, I think that you can say whatever you want. So I could write, I could sing anything. But I decided that I'm a very, Satan, exactly. JD knows. So Satan is actually tofu, but it can be Satan. No, it's Satan. No, it's Satan. No, it's Satan. Either way, it's vegan death metal. Satan. Rock. Oh, lead. Asparagus is among us. Asparagus. I kind of like it. It's catchy. It's got a ring to it, you know? And so anyway, you will be seeing some vegan death metal songs from yours truly. And then if you see a rap song by a new rapper named Joe E., you know who it's from. Now, getting back to modes, why? Why not? The first thing that you have to think about is that they were based around the church, okay? There's two types of music in the old days. There's liturgical music, which was church music, and secular, which was non-church music. The majority, especially up till Bach's time, and even Mozart and patrons later, if they weren't overt about it, if they weren't, if churches weren't like publicly endorsing people, they privately did, because, you know, it was very prestigious to have a Beethoven, you know, appear at your party, but you had to be a duke or an earl to pull this off. You had to be able to pay him. And so, but in Bach's time, he was unknown in his day. He was unknown for 100 years later. He was rediscovered, 100 years later. His music, it was so great that another composer rediscovered Bach. But Bach was just a humble man that wrote some of the greatest music ever, and he wrote it for the church. And so, but they would call them church modes. Now, one of the things with these modes is that it all starts with the major scale. That is the Ionian mode. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Now, one of the things that makes modes so difficult for the average person to understand, and it took me several years, but I majored in music in high school and then at the university, is that they are all, if you think of one octave, the white keys of the piano starting on C, do, 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 that is the Ionian mode. But see, that mode resolved. That's the one that resolved. So we turned it into a scale for that reason, and it has become the basis of Western music. Now, I'm going to throw some words out to you guys today. One of the names of Western music, it is based on what is called tertian harmony. Now, like they're like, what? What are you talking about? Tertian harmony is harmony built on thirds. Okay, so it means like 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, where it goes again, 11, 13. 13th chord, and a 13th is actually a 6th. So you can have like a C6 chord, like, and so like, here's a C6 chord like this. And so a 6th is also a 13th. When they call it 13th, they usually mean it's based on a dominant chord. Like, see? And a 13th chord has a really important, it's a very important chord when you get in jazz music, because it's a 5 chord. When you start on these modes, the major scale is the Ionian mode. So that is scale 1. Everything if you want to think about this, is derived from there. if you start, now think of the white keys on a piano, just go do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. If you do this, just go. Just start on C. Now, if I start playing, here's where the modes get tricky, because they all sound different, but they are the same notes. If you look at this, watch. You take every note of a C major scale and assign it a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be 8 or octave. If you start on the first degree, you have a C major scale. Now, you don't even have to really think so much like 2's a whole step, 3's a whole step, 4's a half step, 5's a whole step, 6 is a whole step, 7 is a whole step, but 7 to 8 is a half step. You can think, like, that's one way to think about it, but don't confuse the issue. We are just going purely by this. Now, playing those exact same notes in the C major scale, but you don't start on C now. We remember we numbered those notes. Start on 2. The second scale degree and go. You are playing the exact same notes that you play in C major, but you're starting on the second scale degree. That is the Dorian mode. And then what I do is I like to think about feelings when you think about scales and modes. Like major, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, happy, happy. I wanna be a rapper 'cause I'm Joe. So you think about, I'm happy, like Crazy Train. Only the Prince of Darkness could turn this progression into evil. That's the happiest progression of all time. I remember when I went to play my tribute to Randy and I'm playing Crazy Train, I'm going, I'm like, that's a very happy, it's too happy, it's happy, happy, happy. It's like, that's not metal, this is metal. This is not metal! I want to just stand up and go. I just want to move to the groove. It's not metal! It's not metal. It's a 1, 5, 4. I mean, it's not metal. And then when I went to play the melody, go. What the heck is that? Can you imagine? I am Michelangelo Batio. I play weapons of the ancient double guitar. And I'm gonna go on stage and go. It took Ozzy, the Prince of Darkness, to make that heavy. And so you know what I did? I muted, I just went. I got so mad. I went to the piano, and I've said this story before. I was like, what can I play on this? How can I possibly be cool going? I mean, listen to the melody. And I love Ozzy's voice. I love Ozzy. But he doesn't vibrato. He doesn't go, crazy. That's how it goes. Can you imagine Jeff Tate? Millions of people live in a small or Bruce Dickinson, crazy, that's how it goes. I mean, you're like, really? Are you sure you want to do that? Are you absolutely sure? Are you positive you want to go, yeah? And so he doesn't have vibrato. He's like, crazy, That's how it goes. Listen, Ozzy, there's hardly any vibrato in his voice. I'm going through changes. Done. Most pop singers don't, especially in rock, don't. Can you imagine Kurt Cobain? Come as you are. Da, da, oh, 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 oh. Only Bruce Dickinson and Jeff Tate can get away with it. Everybody else? Crazy. That's how it goes. Oh. I'm going afters, running afters, whatever, circles on a crazy tree. No, it doesn't work. So, that is a major scale personified. Now, why did I say that? Why not? I feel like saying it. When it gets to these modes, the major scale is happy. I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, 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 happy. Dorian is kind of happy. Dorian is Santana. You've got to change your evil ways. Okay, but you've got to change your evil ways, baby. Oh, I stop loving you. Okay, so the Dorian mode is the second scale degree. In other words, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. I'm sorry, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Joey was messing with me there. And then so you have these 7 scale degrees. The second scale degree playing, starting on a major scale, just going like this. It's called Dorian. The beauty of music is once you understand that the major scale is the basis of it all, and then it goes the second scale degree, Dorian. The third scale degree, Phrygian. Phrygian is really cool. And so I see Randy says, how you doing? I'm doing really great. For example, this. Here's the Phrygian mode. Now, I am playing a C major scale starting on the third scale degree. Do, re, mi. When I start here. So, and it does not resolve. There's nothing in this mode that goes. It doesn't go like that. It goes. It does not resolve. The dominant note of those modes, meaning the fifth note, went from your starting note to the fifth. That fifth note does not have a chord that wants to be so dominant that it resolves. That was the main difference I learned in school. Scales resolve. Modes do not have that kind of resolution. Today it's all cloudy. You know, we change the rules to whatever we want to fit. And it makes it very ambiguous and hard for people to understand. So this is the reason that I wanted to talk about this today. Watch, here is a basic Phrygian mode progression. Now, I'm exaggerating this and making fun, but see, if you get an idea in your head, like, for example, Wikipedia, I'm really down on them right now. They actually deleted a whole section of when I don't post, it's not up to me. Somebody posted that I use Sawtooth Guitars now and I endorse them, and they wrote back, they said, we don't, I looked at my page, they said that you can look at the edits, and they said, we don't acknowledge endorsements. And then earlier, like a paragraph they go, Michael is endorsed by blah, blah, blah. And so it's probably someone working for my old company, the company that I used to endorse. And they also said something that's so wrong. They said that my favorite key is F sharp because it's dark and ominous. That is not true. Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, myself. I'm not equating myself with those other people. I'm saying we both speak and we all thought and spoke a musical language that we all understood. And so scales and modes have different feelings. And so when I hear F sharp, I mean, there's a reason that it just sounds mean in F sharp. F sharp is like when you play F sharp minor, it's a dark, mean sounding key. That's what I said. And then all of a sudden it got twisted where F sharp's my favorite key. I like all keys. I'm not prejudiced. I like them all. I'm tolerant of all of them. I like them all. I don't care what key it is. But when I write things, like when I wrote Hands Without Shadows, it's just mean. F sharp is mean. And so when you go, now Randy Rhoads could have wrote it in A. Now, it sounds cool, but to me, that's not really we're all used to hearing it, but we're used to hearing it for a reason. The sound seemed correct in the key, and that's what I was trying to say, but it was taken all out of context. That is the same with modes. If you ascribe a feeling to a mode, it makes it much easier. For example, Dorian, think Santana, think Carlos Santana. It's the happy minor. Now, Phrygian, I'll take it a little farther. Megadeth. You take a mortal man, you put him in control. So now, when I heard Symphony of Destruction, I knew it was Phrygian. But the thing that blew my mind, and I love Marty Friedman to death, and I love Dave Mustaine, and I like the fact that we've all left a certain company. Everybody that was good left. And so, but what he did was, when they both played the solo, they didn't play in Phrygian mode. They just didn't play. You didn't hear like we're going, you know. I mean, Mustaine and Friedman are both playing in basic blues and minor, but they were playing in, like it would twisted my ear. When you hear my version, A Symphony of Destruction, I actually played in the Phrygian mode of the these are Phrygian mode chords. And then you can do a cliche. That is the Phrygian mode. So it's got this kind of Spanish Dave Mustaine thing going on. So now that is a C major scale. Now it can be any major scale. It could be C, it could be B, it could be B flat, it could be A. But take C because that is the basis. That's that white key that keeps reoccurring on the piano. The piano is great. I recommend everybody to learn piano, at least basics. You have one octave. That's the same as the next octave. That's the same as the next octave. And it's just like guitar. It's kind of like, people say don't play in positions, but why not? Because positioning is everything on a guitar. It's about as high as I can get on this. And so the point is this, that it starts with the major scale. Then the major scale was once called a mode. It's still called a mode, the Ionian mode. But when I went to school, we had a distinct dividing line between what was a mode and what was a scale. A scale resolves. When you play the fifth note of that scale, the chord based on that scale is always going to be a dominant chord, always. And that dominant chord is so dominant, they call it a dominant for a reason. When you play diminished chords and you go, there's a music theory term called the secondary dominant, where if you want to change keys, you go to the dominant chord of the key you want to move in, and you'll automatically, for example, say I'm in A. Now, what if I want to go to A flat? What? G. Let me put it on clean so you can hear it better. What? When I play the 5 chord of a new key, it's such a powerful chord, it will move to that new key effortlessly. It is called a secondary dominant. Modes do not have this dominant force. They don't have it. They don't. And so you cannot do this if I went like this in Phrygian. That's the 5 chord. Where the heck does that go? You don't really know what key. Am I in B minor or am I in E Phrygian? You don't know because it is ambiguous. It's like weird. That's a mode. A mode does not resolve like a scale. And so this is how I learned it. It is ingrained in my head. And it made it very easy for me to like compartmentalize, okay, scales, modes, and then how to use them. Okay, so now we're on the 3rd degree. So if you think of this, major, happy, 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 happy. Wait, a rapper can't be happy. I'm Joey the rapper. Okay, shut up, that's a different thing. Okay, see, Joey, I'm not letting him be the star, and he's really aggravated. See, he told me that he wants to run for president of the United States. Then he said that he thinks that he would be good if he moved to China. I'm like, what are you kidding? Because we've both been there 15 times. And so he doesn't know what he wants. Every week he wants something different. See, I know what I want. Shred. And a vegan death metal album. So, back to the modes. Why? Why not? When you move, so you have major, that's happy. Dorian, it's like the happy minor. And it's built on the 2nd scale degree, the 2nd note of a major scale. So in other words, major, Dorian. And also, doesn't this ES sound amazing? It's called, it's called a Sawtooth Relic ET. But it just really sounds great. It's got the humbuckers in there, distress. I really love this guitar. Sawtooth makes great recording guitars, and that's how I judge things. I just love them. It just sounds good. You know, they just sound right, and they play great, and they look cool. So anyway, back to this. Now, the 4th scale degree, when you have major, that's happy. Dorian, that's a happy minor. Phrygian, think of like something Spanish. Okay, that's Phrygian. Now, Lydian, I think of as the Steven Spielberg or Steve Vai mode. It's the sense of wonder. See, because when you start on that 4th scale degree, you go. What happens, it's a major scale, but that 4th is raised. So what that does is your 1st chord is major, and so is your 2nd. So you have. And then. Now, there are two parts of this. The Lydian mode is the sense of wonder. And that's how I think about this. And see, again, this is my music theory training, that it's not all about numbers and a bunch of words that nobody understands. It's about things that, it's like memorization ideas. That what you're doing is you're trying to memorize a feeling to go along with a mode. And that's what music's all about anyway. And so you go. So if I was going to hear that, like, so I mean, it's that sense that you have. It's like, oh my God, the Goonies, E.T. Phone, whoa! They sound like Sam Kinison as an alien. Whoa, no! Whoa! Or Jack Black. So what you have is that, yeah, exactly, Tom Petty, somebody right, exactly. But that is Lydian. That is the Lydian mode, and all it is. See, remember, everything is based on the major scale and those 7 notes that make up that major scale. So you're on the 4th scale degree. Just you start on F. That's the 4th scale degree from C. Just play all the way up to F, but use the notes in C major. These are modes. These are what were called the church modes. Yeah, the never-ending story. There's another one. When you picture something ethereal and something like, you know, angels coming down, the sense of wonder. That's all I can tell you. The Goonies, when they saw the treasure. You know, it's like that is, or E.T. When you, so you have now the 5th scale degree would start on, that would start on G. So it'd be, that is called the Mixolydian mode. Now, the Mixolydian mode's really cool. Now, watch what the Mixolydian mode is. Watch. Now, I'm going to start on G, because 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you know this song, let's put this. Watch. Freeway Jam by Jeff Beck. The Mixolydian mode is basically, doesn't Vi use Mixolydian a lot? Yeah, he does. Everybody uses it. But Vi loves that raised 4th in the Lydian. That's kind of like his thing. And I'm not saying he uses it all the time because he's a brilliant musician. But, you know, if I had to summarize, you know what I mean? Like, you know, some people can say, okay, well, let's do, you know, the MAB arpeggio. Or like... You know, I love to end on those notes. So if somebody was going to do a parody of me or say, okay, this is MAB like people have done online, they can find things that are unique to my style that sound like me. Steve Vai uses the Lydian. I'm not saying he uses it all the time. He uses the Mixolydian as well. The Mixolydian is really, if you actually look at the notes, it is a major scale, but that flatted 7th, but that creates that dominant 7th chord, which is why it's the 5th scale degree of C. It's dominant. And so, but when you think of the Mixolydian, think of on Broadway. But like, let's do it in D. Watch. You go. I mean, it's a really, really widely used mode. And it's really a mode because, again, if you start on G, if you start on the 5th scale degree, and, okay, something cut out here. I don't know. Anyway, if you start on that 5th scale degree and you use G and then you go A, B, C, D, the D is a minor chord. And that is, I'm not sure exactly what happened here. Anyway, but that is it. Now, I want to say this. You know, I've gone on for a long time. The 6th scale degree is Aeolian. The 7th is Locrian. And they are all based on a major scale. Now, I talked about the modes. I've done my shout-outs. I've talked about the ET hybrid series. And I'm just kind of... Oh, well. Anyway, something cut out here. I think one of my cables or something. Anyway, one of the things that I'd like you guys to think about is that go to the app. We have an app. It's called, the retail side of Sawtooth Guitars is called Go DPS. G-O, then capital DPS. Go to Go DPS Live. Anything that you purchase on that app is automatically 20% off. Anything. And so especially this bad boy. These are in stock. Now, on this app, we have a lot of really cool stuff. I have an MAB band. It's got 2 of the owners in Sawtooth and a great bass player named Nils, and he can sing like a bird. You know, we have great vocals. We have great playing, and we have a concert where we did a lot of cover songs, and we did some of my originals. We're going to be adding more to this, doing some live shows, and incorporating more of my original music into this. But what we're going to do is also be releasing a concert, one song at a time, from when I jammed with Vinny Appice from Black Sabbath and Dio, Rudy Sarzo from Ozzy with Randy Rhoads, Whitesnake, the list goes on, Quiet Riot, and then a 19-year-old girl singer named Melody Christie. I hope I said her last name correctly. She's in the band Liliac, and she has got she's an old soul. She's a young woman, and man, can she sing. I mean, she's just got power times 10. So we are starting to release songs. All this will be available for free on the app. The app is free. It's not like free, but you got to pay $20 a month, you know, in 3 months. It's free. Free, 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 free. If you purchase something through the app, like a musical instrument or even guitar strings, you get 20% off everything. One last thing. I've been doing a lot of things online this year. I mean, I was just with Herman Lee for that Jason Becker promotion that he was doing to raise money. Check out my YouTube page. Just go to my YouTube page. I've got a lot of content on there now. There's over 130 videos. And so go there, check it out, subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and watch some of the stuff. I'm releasing a lot of new videos. I release 1 to 2 a week now, and we're going to ramp it up. I just did a version with lifelong friends of mine of the Hendrix song Little Wing, and we did a really cool version. I just riffed out, and I used one of the Sawtooth hybrids, but I can't say enough about hybrid guitars, about Sawtooth guitars. The Relics, they just make really great instruments, and they really care, you know, about what's going on in the industry. So also too, go to that app, download it. It's absolutely free. If you want to know more about the modes, I'm going to talk about this again because it's so important. And remember, see, one of the things that make my lessons so popular is when I can explain things. I mean, you know, it doesn't take, you know, even if you are a rocket scientist, if you're trying to explain something, trying to act like you're smart is not the way to explain something. You want to explain it so people understand it. But I come from a theory background that was orchestral and classical in nature. It was very easy for me to understand what's going on today. But a lot of times it's hard for people to understand what's going on today because they've changed the names. You know, a jazz musician will freely call a scale a mode, and I would have been downgraded in school. You call the Dorian a scale? It's not a scale, it's a mode. And so I had a very clear distinction between what was a mode and what was a scale. It's all blurred now. But if you learn the classical, the church mode way, then it all of a sudden makes sense that you can say, okay, well, it's almost like saying, I know regular English, so I know, yo, see him saying, yo, 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 yo. I can understand people, yo, word. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it means listen, listen to me. Well, it's whatever context, but it's only because I know regular English that I can think ahead and think, well, what does the slang mean? Because basically our musical harmonic and theory system is turning into slang, just like our language. And so I didn't learn slang. I can speak it, and I do speak it, but I learned legitimate, proper ways to organize this in my head and the way people thought about it. Scales resolved, modes do not. They were the basic church modes, and everything grew from that. And so if you kind of get this foundation, it makes the rest easy. Anyway, I would like to thank Sawtooth Guitars, Sawtooth Amps, ChromaCast, music products, and Go DPS Live. You've got to download the app, Go DPS Live, free, and you're going to get a ton of content. Lessons, concerts, it's such a great app. And how many guitar companies have their own app? Few, not many, we do. Anyway, I'm Angelo Batio. I hope it helps. I'm here to help. Anyway, thank you very much. See ya.